Summit and Destiny have met 7 times before. Tonight is number 8.
And the Tennessee Volunteers are the SEC Tournament champions. It's been a long time coming. The last time Tennessee won this tournament was in 1979, but they've got another trophy to put in the trophy case at Thompson Bowling Arena.
The 2023 SEC champions, the Tennessee Volunteers.
Hit high in the air into left field. Stevenson circling in front of the fence into foul ground. He goes into the corner, makes the catch, and that's the ball game.
And the Volunteers will hold the trophy.
How much fun is this, man? God, I love it. High fly, deep right, and Tennessee walks it
The 2-2 to Denton.
well hit deep left field. It is gone.
For the win for the Volunteers. From 40. On the way, a knuckleball. He got it!
How much fun is this?
Man, Rocky Top. This is college football at its absolute best.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in to another episode of the Vol Fanatic Show. I am Michael with my co-host Skylar. Skylar, how we doing today, my guy?
You see what I'm doing over here? I'm like a terrible dancer, but that's what we're doing right now, baby. We're still dancing. We are still dancing, and for that, we are grateful. Michael, how are we doing?
We're doing good, man. You know, got to see a big Vols victory last night in the NCAA Tournament. Got to see a Lady Vols victory yesterday morning in the NCAA Tournament. Got some wins from baseball and softball. A couple losses in there with baseball too, but all in all, this week was a fantastic week of all sports. So, Skylar, before we get into this today, you want to give a shout-out to our show sponsor?
That's right. We're going to give a shout-out to – oh, you see that? I just nailed it very first time. I usually point the wrong direction, but not today. All right. Chris Smith Insurance is our show sponsor. As a homeowner, Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company. So he decided to start one of his own, where instead of feeling like a big company is fighting against you, you'll know that your agent is fighting for you. All insurance is not equal. Trust the Chris Smith Insurance today. Call 865-272-3387. Guys, if you don't know your insurance agent, it may not be a bad idea to give him a call and get some sort of relationship going with your agent, because if something goes wrong, whether it's hail damage or something happens to your car, anything like that, you want to know that you can trust the guy that you're calling to get that situated. So give him a call. Thank you, Chris, for your support. And we hope to be able to call your name out for quite some time with this show, man. We really do appreciate you. We got a lot to get into. We got 3 big segments today. But before we get into it, Michael, I kind of want to shout out the listeners, the viewers. We've had quite a lot, honestly, in the last couple of weeks. And I just want to say thank you. I've had a lot of questions in person. They're like, hey, man, I tuned in, but you never shouted me out. Well, guess what? We don't know if you're watching until you comment. Sometimes Facebook on the phone, like if we have it pulled up, it'll show us who's tuned in. But unless you comment, guys, we don't know that you're watching. We can only see the total amount of viewers. So we appreciate you tuning in, but we want you to interact. If you have a question, if you have any comments, please let us know. Share the show. Do whatever you got to do, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook. I know later, some people can listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever. Whatever you got to do. But if you want your voice to be heard, throw a comment. And we'll get you out there. But, Michael, let's get into our first segment, dude.
Yep, and let me give a shout-out to our first segment sponsor, Optimal Asbestos Services. Your trusted environmental consulting firm in Knoxville, Tennessee, state licensed and insured. We specialize in asbestos air quality management for commercial buildings and homes. Contact Jeff Mole at 865-223-3297 or on the web at optimalasbestosservices.com. So Jeff and Optimal Asbestos Services, thank you so much for being our first segment sponsor. And Skylar, with saying that, our first segment today is going to be the Vols in March. Fantastic week this past week. We'll start off with the Thursday night game, and this was a late one for a lot of folks. the dismantling of St. Peter's.
That's right. It wasn't even close, and that's exactly what you needed to do against an inferior opponent. We saw this happen so many times, unfortunately, for the SEC, have a favorable matchup and just not come through.
Kentucky.
Hey, yeah, love to see it, actually.
Yeah.
So, it's just one of those things where I texted a buddy before this game. I said, man, it needs to never even be in doubt. Like, from start to finish, it needs to be a comfortable. I took the over. I took Tennessee plus 21.5, and my God, they made me look amazing. It was such an easy bet for me. Not necessarily. I know we've had some offensive struggles, but, guys, I mean, they were just small. They were really small. And when you got a 7-footer in Jonas Adu, at some point, size matters. Look what Edey from Purdue.
Yeah.
At some point, size matters. I mean, that dude's going to be the National Player of the Year. He's decent, but he's just tall. You don't have to be good when you're tall. I mean, that dude has one shot, a turnaround layup. Like, that's all he does. So, no, this game was amazing. Got to see the boys not play a whole lot, which is probably really good for the tournament. Got in some younger guys. Look, Adu and I think Awaka kind of struggled with fouling in this game. But you got to see JP Estrella come in and the announcer. I could be wrong, so before I say this, but it's Estrella, right? Not Estrella.
To my knowledge, it's Estrella, but
okay.
Yeah, he was saying Australia the whole night, and I'm like,
and that's,
Estrella.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But love seeing what I seen from the guys. Got the rotation in. Tennessee fans still found a way to complain on this one, but that's who we are, right?
Yeah, yeah, very much so. And looking in the bottom right corner here, it was, as you mentioned, it was never in doubt at all. And Tennessee held St. Peter's to 29.1% from the field, 16 of 55, 4 of 24 from the three-point line. Now, I will say in the next game, Tennessee pretty much mimicked that stat, but
or worse.
Yeah, but the big stat here towards the end, you got Tennessee with 47 rebounds to St. Peter's 21. And then Tennessee had 19 assists on 27 made shots, while St. Peter's had 3 assists on 16 made shots. It was just never in doubt. Tennessee dominated inside, outside, all of that. And then a lot of guys contributed in this game in big ways. I mean, you had Dalton Connect with 23, Jonas Adu with 15, Zakai Ziegler with 11. Vescovy hit a couple of threes. He had 6. Tobey Awaka had 8 off the bench. Jordan Gainey had 6. JP Estrella had 6, and 4 of his 6 points were just monster alley-oops from, I think Ziegler threw both of them. And then, Jemai Meshack with 4. Freddie DeLeon and Cameron Carr there in garbage time both had 2 points apiece. So, had some guys get some minutes that, in the future could be big, because they're young guys that are actually getting to get out there during tournament time. It may not be meaningful minutes, but it's still experience.
I think every minute in March is meaningful, regardless, if we're winning by 40 or not. I mean, you're getting these guys time in the big dance. The best moment of this game, I think, and his name's slipping on me. Who came in at the... Thank you.
Coin, yeah.
Thank you. I was like, that kid came in, and dude, I was like, that's my guy. I mean, seeing the raw emotion, he never really thought it was possible. I mean, not to make it to March, but for him to check into a game at March, right? That was something very special to see. Probably the coolest moment in the game, honestly. But no, tennis. Go ahead.
Did you see what he did after the game?
I did not.
All right, so each team that wins in March Madness after the game, there's like a dry erase board in there with a portion of the bracket that's got your got the teams on there. And when you move on, you move your magnet to that next spot. So they let Colin Coyne do it. He took it and smacked that thing on the board and actually broke the dry erase board when he did it. So
hey, fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, it is what it is. I love that emotion, though. I mean, that's something that you can't coach. I mean, that's just something. Now, I know he's probably not going to be a key player down the road, but it's those type of players that you want, right? It means so much to them just to wear the jersey and be there, not necessarily about how much money they're going to make for being there or what's in it for me type of mindset. So no, I'm all for it. That kid, that's awesome, man. But Tennessee doing exactly what fans needed them to do. And that's go out there, get an easy round of 64 win, stress-free, didn't have to pull any hair in this one. But no, this is exactly what Tennessee needed to do in the first round.
Yeah, so a little bit of a side note here. For those that watched this game, they kind of said it in the broadcast. I did not realize this about the recruitment of Dalton Connect. But, Dalton Connect, when he entered the transfer portal from Northern Colorado, he was highly sought after by many different schools, Tennessee being one of them. They ultimately got him, but like Kansas was one, maybe Kentucky. I think North Carolina might have been one, but he was highly sought after. And, a thing that I really like about Rick Barnes, now that I've heard this, is the conversation that he had with Connect when he asked, or when Connect was talking to him. Coach Barnes said, look, I can't promise you a big bag of NIL because we're taking care of our guys here first. You don't hear that a whole lot from coaches these days, and especially like let's just use Ole Miss for instance. I mean, this year in the offseason of football, it was like they were throwing bag after bag at whatever transfer was in the portal that they wanted. They couldn't even keep some of their own guys. Quinshon Judkins, for instance. Rick Barnes told Dalton Connect, look, I'm not here to just hand out NIL money. I'm not going to throw you a big bag. We're going to take care of our guys here. What I can tell you is I'm going to coach you hard, and whatever you are looking for, that's what I'm going to give you. Dalton Connect said, I'm looking for a coach that's going to push me and a coach that's going to make me better on defense. That's exactly what he's got, and it's been a match made in heaven for Tennessee.
Is it not crazy in today's world that you were able to recruit a kid that's what he says he wants now? It's not. Yeah. It's not. I'm looking for $1 million to play, basketball. It was. I'm looking. It also I think helped a lot that he looks up to Kevin Durant as a player. He likes to compare himself to him. And guess who coached Kevin Durant in college? At the University of Texas.
Yeah.
So. No, I think that had a lot to do with it. But no, if you needed any reason to like Dalton Connect just a little bit more, he's here for the right reasons, not for NIL. Now, I hope he gets the bag. He deserves it.
Absolutely.
And I think he is, but that's not why he came here. And that needs to be heard and said all across the nation.
Yep, absolutely. So do you have anything else on the St. Peter's game before we move forward to last night's game?
Yeah, let's talk about the one that actually drove me nuts, but we somehow survived it, dude. Tennessee plays Texas in a game that I thought we were going to easily win. I think Tennessee was up at 12 at one point in the first, maybe even second half. But, man, credit to Texas. This game was a defensive masterpiece and an offensive whoa. This was – look at the field goal percentages, man. 33% to 36%. 3-point. I'm not even reading the 3-point percentages, bro. It's so bad.
Look, these teams combined right here went 10 of 48 from the 3-point line. That is crazy.
I didn't think. They always say shooters shoot, and you're going to keep shooting even if you're in a slump, just because you want to have that type of confidence. At some point, the numbers have to work in your favor, right? I'm a big believer that odds find a way to even. It didn't. It didn't at all last night. I mean, the 3-point shot was just non-existent.
But I will also say this, though. 2 of Tennessee's threes did come in clutch moments. Dalton Connect finally got free for a 3-pointer off of an out-of-bounds play in the corner, and then very next possession, 3-pointer from Josiah Jordan-James in the corner. They were 2 huge threes in this game.
No, absolutely. I got to credit to Texas. We hit a 3 and then maybe even another 3 within the same minute, which was insane. That literally didn't happen at all. But Texas found a way to not panic. They were able to still drive down, get those fast break points, kind of catch our defense slacking a little bit. And it seemed like every time we got 3, Texas would get 4. And 2, they would get multiple, possessions out of our one big possession. That was kind of frustrating because you kind of thought once Tennessee would hit the first 3, it would kind of spiral for Texas. Like, okay, it's gone. They found their shot. It's over. That never happened. I mean, they just found a way. And I thought, I'm not even going to lie, man, I thought Texas was going to clutch this one out. When they fouled Adu on purpose, that was a genius move. Adu's not a sharp shooter from the free throw line. I think 60%. He missed his first one. So, like, it was really getting nerve-wracking there for a second. But then he finishes out going his last 3 for 3 in the clutchest moment in free throws. And then Dalton Connect also went 2 for 2 to help secure this win. Like I said, I sent you a message. I said, man, this is the greatest defensive game I've ever watched in my life and quite possibly the worst offensive matchup I've ever seen.
Yeah, and I do want to correct you. Dalton Connect actually went 4 for 4 from the line in the final.
Thank you.
But yeah, absolutely. If you love a defensive battle, I'm a defensive guy, no matter what sport it is. You know, I love defense when it comes to football, basketball. I love a pitcher's duel when it comes to baseball. That's what I am. I'm a defensive guy. I loved this game last night. I know that, you know, it kind of like Candace Parker said after the game, you know, defense wins championships, offense sells tickets. This game did not sell any tickets. But, you know, it was a whole lot of defense to go around.
It actually sold a lot of tickets to Detroit, Michigan.
That's true. That's true.
Sir, we're going to
Detroit. Yeah, Detroit, Michigan is going to have a lot of the true orange in it come next Friday.
The real orange.
Yeah, the real shade of orange. But
so stupid. Texas wouldn't even be a state if it weren't for Tennessee, bro. That's why we're named the Volunteers, dude.
Exactly.
You know,
like Coach Heupel said, let's show everyone who the real UT is.
The real UT.
Yep.
Yep. I want y'all to read these comments. It's so funny, dude. It's so funny. Texas player hook and horn.
And you know, this picture in the comments are very funny. But you know, there was multiple moments in this game, that being one of them, where I was just like, okay, this is the moment Tennessee has grabbed the momentum. Kind of like you mentioned, this is the moment Texas is going to spiral.
Yep.
And credit to them, that never happened.
No,
I mean,
it never.
At one point, let's see, was it the first half? Yeah, it was the first half. You know, Tennessee had that 5-point possession because it was a flagrant one on the Texas player. Jordan Gainey goes to the line, makes 2 free throws. Tennessee knocks down their first 3 of the game on that same possession. 5-point swing there. Tennessee builds the lead, I think, to 9. And from there, I was like, okay, Tennessee's going to have this steady lead. Texas is eventually going to crack. Never happened. Matter of fact, Texas actually cut the lead down early in the second half. Dalton Connect gets a big, you know, putback slam, and I'm like, okay, this is the moment. This is it. And Texas battled right back. I mean, it was just every single time Texas had an answer. But I've been preaching it all year long. HYFT. Hit your free throws. Tennessee goes 7 of 8 from the 3-point or from the free throw line down the stretch to close this game out.
Yeah, how many times have we also mentioned that between Triple J and Vescovy, we just need 10 points combined. Like, that's all we need. Well, Josiah carried the weight, but he got 9. Vescovy had 2. Combined, that's 11 points. It's almost not guaranteed to win, but it helps a lot when you can get some offensive production from those two to help support, obviously, Dalton Connect, Jonas Adu, Ziegler, Jordan Gainey kind of struggled. Everybody struggled defensively, don't get me wrong, but Jordan Gainey's usually that guy off the bench that'll just come in and, you know, get that spark on the offense if we kind of have a dull moment. But, you know, Josiah Jordan James, Tobe Awaka. Dude, I'm telling you, he was a man possessed. He's got to be a little smarter with the fouling. I think that's a little bit of the youth showing. He is a sophomore, a true sophomore. Tobe Awaka is going to be a dog, dude. Like, he's already pretty good. But Tennessee fans have to really like what they're seeing in Tobe Awaka. Yeah,
absolutely. And you know, I'm going to take partial credit, although they didn't watch us. I called out Jonas Adu and Tobe Awaka last week on the show. And so far, the first 2 games of the tournament, they have showed up and played. But, you know, you brought up what we need from Vescovy and James. I want to have this conversation real
let's
quick.
do it.
So, I had this conversation with my father-in-law yesterday. Do we really need to get 10 to 15 from James and Vescovy, or do we need to let the big three do their thing? Adu, Ziegler, and Connect, and have 2 or 3 others get you that get about 8 to 10 points, because in yesterday's game, Ziegler didn't have the greatest game, but it wasn't the type of game that he could really do much on offense. He still played all 40 minutes of the game.
He made every shot possible with how he was moving the defenses around, throwing those passes. Without Ziegler, dude, we lose this game by a lot. He was able to get those easy 2-pointers, those dunks. He was able to move those defenses around the way he literally zigs and zags. I hate to put a pun on it, but he moves the defenses around in such a way due to his quickness, and honestly his size helps him with that. But no, to your point, Ziegler didn't have the best offensive day, but he does need the credit for the assist and the shot creativity for the other guys to be able to get their shot.
Yeah, exactly. But we had Dalton Connect with 18, Jonas Adu with 11, Ziegler had 6, so not his best offensive game, but as we mentioned there, we need 2 or 3 other guys to chip in, around 10 points, something like that. You had that. Owaka got 10, James got 9. Then you had Meshack with 2, Gainey with 4, and Vescovy with 2. You got what you needed out of those guys. So my question is, with that stat in mind, do we need James and Vescovy to get 10 to 15, or do we just need 2 or 3 other guys to get? And if we're adding a third guy, let's say we just need 20 to 25 from those 3 guys.
I mean, yes, you still need it. One, they're your starters. And secondly, one of those 3 or 4 guys is Jordan, Triple J. Yep. Josiah Jordan James. He's the one with 9. Now, you had 18, 11, and 10, obviously, from Connect, Adu, and Owaka. Your 2 bigs got 2 of your 3 guys that are in double digits. But you've got to have Vescovy and look, we're not asking for a lot. I mean, we're just asking for 10 points combined, but it helps keep the defense balanced.
But I guess my question is, does it have to be James and Vescovy, or can it be, James and Gainey? Can it be Vescovy and Meshack? Something like that. Does it have to be Santi and Josiah?
Okay, I'm going to still say yes because they're your starters.
Okay.
But I guess in getting the win, maybe not. But how often does Jamal Meshack actually just pop off offensively? Or, any of the guys off the bench, like your guards. Jordan Gainey, sometimes. Sometimes he does. But I just think consistency. I'd rather see the starters help Connect, because that's typically who's going to be on the same the floor at the same time. And if they can attribute something, it'll help keep the double teams from happening on Connect. We'll talk about the matchup here in a little bit. I'm really excited about the Creighton matchup, because I do think the guys are going to be able to breathe and get their shot off a little bit easier than with Texas. Texas is a dang good defensive team, bro. And they showed it. So
yeah, they are. And I do agree with what you said. I would rather it be the starters, but I'm going to say no. It does not have to be Vescovy and James as those guys.
Not to get the win. Not to get the win. Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, not to get the win, but you do still need 2 to 3 guys that combined can give you, 20 to 25 points to go along with Adu and Vescovy. Adu and Ziegler and Connect.
You want to have 3 or 4 total players in double digits every game.
Yes.
Or if you have 2 guys pop off for 20 and 30, like let's say Adu and Connect just have a heyday and go for 32 and 24, then you could settle for some guys having 8 to 6 points. But on any given night when it's low double digits, like Connect had a tough day. But, you want 3 to 4 players in double digits. And I guess most importantly, like we're all trying to say, is you just want everybody to kind of step up when your star player is kind of having a bad night. Because the announcers mentioned this, or maybe it was the postgame. Getting this win was big for Dalton Connect. Could you imagine the storylines after this game if we lost? Everybody would blame Dalton Connect. 100%. Everybody would. which is wrong. But Tennessee helped pick him up. He was our leading scorer. He still got 18 points. He almost had a double-double, but it was how he got those 8 points. A lot of it was, I think he had he had seven free throws. 7 of his 18 were free throws, right? He only had 1 3, and I think the rest were dunks or layups. So, it was just a tough shooting night for Dalton Connect, but Tennessee picked him up. It's all positive vibes. This is the game we needed to win to make me feel better, actually, about our run into Creighton and then possibly, is it Marquette and Purdue now?
It's
not Marquette.
Purdue is playing.
Who are they playing?
Utah State, I believe, is who they're playing today, and then Gonzaga is who they will face off.
I was like, I think the 5 beat the 4 in the bracket. I can't remember, but so either way, I feel really good because even Rick Barnes kind of said it because he knows basketball. It's hard to have a bad shooting night 2 games in a row.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've had bad shooting nights several of the last, couple weeks. So I think Rick Barnes is feeling like it's about to be our time to get whatever basket we want. It's about to be our time to have a 65% field goal percentage type game. And it wouldn't be anybody better than to have it against Creighton to get us to the Elite 8.
All right, so I don't have the matchup graphic to pull up here, but let's talk about the Creighton matchup for a few minutes before we get to the Lady Vols. So the thing that scares me about Creighton is they've got guys all over the place that can shoot, and it's not just that. There's some tall guys that can shoot, but I do think that Tennessee matches up well with Creighton because Tennessee is a very physical team, and the games that I've watched Creighton play, now granted, it hasn't been many of them this year,
right?
But I have caught at least half of the 2 games that they played in the tournament so far. They're not too physical. They're more of a team. They want to get up and down the court. They want to shoot a lot of threes. Granted, they do hit a lot of them, but they struggled a little bit in last night's game. But because of that height, they're a very good offensive rebounding team that can get those second chance points. But I do like that the way that Tennessee matches up against them. This kind of reminds me of a Kentucky in a way as far as the pace and their willingness to shoot threes. And we saw how Tennessee can match up with Kentucky like that. So I think as far as the pace of play, that's what this game reminds me of, and I think that Tennessee matches up well in it.
Yeah, I think something about that Texas game is special because it shows you that Tennessee can win no matter what type of play it is. Like if it's an offensive just shootout, Tennessee can hang. If it's a defensive juggernaut, Tennessee can hang. They can win literally any type of matchup that you throw at them. And they've proven that all year, right? But I've just put up some history. We need to be very thankful for how the game is played today. Take a gander when the last time we played Creighton was.
The last time we played Creighton.
We played them once in the history of basketball.
I want to say probably 1983.
1937.
Wow. 1937.
Guess what the total score was?
Probably 57 points. I'm going to go 33 to 27.
Dude, you were so freaking close. 34 to 28.
Oh, my word. I didn't go.
That's impressive. That's impressive. All right, Tennessee got the win, but that's the total score. That's not a first half. But now I'm pretty sure back then it was all 2-pointers. So Tennessee and Creighton really haven't really seen each other in today's game, in this era of basketball. But I think, like you said, I think Tennessee matches up well. Look for Adu and Awaka to have another big day. JP Estrella probably could even come in and have a big day. They just got to be smarter on fouling. Got to be very, there was a foul against Texas that was kind of a head scratch. I think it was at the end of the half. Dalton Connect was trying to get a last half score, and he loses the dribble and then commits the foul with like 2 seconds left. Don't commit that foul. Like, even if they get the ball, what are the chances they're going to make a bucket, right? Yeah. But instead, you foul, they get free throws. That's how the half ends. Those type of fouls we've got to crack down on, just be a little bit smarter about. Because, look, we know March, if you listen to the Eric Haynes show, March is March.
Yep, March is March, guys.
It's not May, June, or July. March is March. Every point matters, dude. And so Awaka, Adu, but look for our guards to come out and have a shooting heyday. But now we need our defense to still be strong. We can't shoot for 80, but then give up the same amount, right? So we need to have a good offensive day as far as production. But I love the intensity on defense. We just got to keep being that physical team. And we haven't seen it so far because there was such a lack of referees in the Texas game, which I'm fine with. I love the pace of play. Let's not get in our heads when that becomes an issue, right? We know this team, when fouling gets really bad and there's just a foul called on every play, we get really frustrated, we get in our heads. We can't let that happen in this fast-paced game against Creighton.
Yeah. So, I mean, Tennessee and Creighton, they're very similar in a lot of ways as far as the offensive and defensive efficiency. It's just kind of swapped. So Tennessee, and this was last week that I printed this off, Tennessee was ranked 7th in KenPom. Creighton was ranked 11th. Tennessee is 29th in adjusted offensive efficiency. Creighton is ranked 12th. Tennessee was ranked 3rd in adjusted defensive efficiency. Creighton was ranked 24th. So they're very similar. Strength of schedules. Tennessee is ranked 8th, and Creighton is ranked 23rd. So they're both very comparable. You mentioned it. So I still think that this is a good matchup for Tennessee. I think it favors them a little bit, the pace of play and all that. If I was to guess right now, I would say that Tennessee is probably favored by 3.5. And I think that's a good number. I do expect the total to be pretty high in this game because both of these teams can fill up the basket.
Yeah, I've heard this from a lot of people that Tennessee, I think, matchup-wise, would have actually preferred to play Creighton over Oregon, regardless of the ranking, right?
Oh,
Oregon
absolutely.
came in with that, but Oregon was hot and they could shoot really well. And but no, I think, and they gave Creighton all they wanted. I can't remember if they went into overtime or not. It was very close, I think, till the end.
Creighton ended up blowing it open at the end, but it was very close for the majority of the game.
Yeah. So, hey, look, all we ask for is, one game at a time. Let's keep dancing. And the men's did exactly what they needed to do, even if it was ugly against Texas. But hey, we get to still talk about March Madness. There's fan bases out there that have to brag about their Final Four 10 years ago because they haven't done anything in the last 5 years. So I'm not throwing any shade. Yes, I am. I ain't even joking about that. But the Lady Vols have actually started doing some things. But before we get into that, let's talk about our segment 2 sponsor, and that is P&L Business Services. We know firsthand that getting your monthly reporting, invoicing, bill pay, taxes, and other essential business service right is critical. That's why at P&L Business Services, we go beyond bookkeeping by providing you with everything you need in your back office so that you can have your time back and the peace of mind to do what you love to do most, which is building your business. Behind every successful business is a great bookkeeper. Guys, to get out in touch with them, you can reach out to them by pnlbusinessservices.com. Miss Leanne, Connor, they've got some great staff in there. They're struggling right now because it's tax season. It is crazy for them. But, man, they are some great people, and they are getting the job done. They are located in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. Y'all give them a shout. Thank you for your support. Segment 2 is all about the Lady Vols basketball. And tell you what, very reminiscent of the first round of the men's, right?
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee did exactly what they needed to do. Tennessee was hot for a lot of this game, but, Green Bay kind of started off hot. It was back and forth. Green Bay actually grew I believe it was a 5-point lead at one point in this game.
In that first quarter, yep.
Yeah, but the Lady Vols, they closed the gap and eventually took the lead, and it was never close after that. The Lady Vols did exactly what they needed to. Rakia Jackson, man, another fantastic game. 1 rebound shy of a double-double. And Sarah Puckett, she showed up and showed out in this game as well. Jewel Spear did her thing. It was good play all the way around.
It was so good to see the shooter shoot. I mean, how many times have we done a game recap on the Lady Vols, and it's just like 1 for 4, 0 for 5 Dave from the 3-point line, and Rickea Jackson's having to do it all, and Tamari Keys having to just block shots left and right. But to see a game like this, the shooter shot as they should, an inferior opponent, but they did what they needed to do, right? This is March Madness. You can't let that team across from you have any belief, which they sort of tried to do that in the first quarter, right? But, man, that second quarter and that third quarter was so dominant by the Lady Vols, and it gave Green Bay hardly anything left in the tank in the fourth quarter. And the Lady Vols got a massive win behind Sarah Puckett, Rickea Jackson, Jewel Spear, and Jasmine Powell.
Darby.
Tess Darby, yes, absolutely. She was confident, right? When you're watching that game, I mean, she was shooting and she knew, right? Like she was calling for the ball, and she sank one. She pointed to the bench. I mean, that's what you needed to see. Big win for Kelly Harper. Do you not feel like this kind of like, for Kelly Harper, right? Like after this season, which has been up and down, but like honestly, it's been kind of up. It's just South Carolina when you have to play them 3 times, bro. Like, it is what it is. But that win for Kelly Harper, now this ain't the job done, right? But
no,
this is a massive, let me get the chains off my shoulders. Like, get the weight off my shoulders. Now let's go to work, and let's make it to the next round. And that's exactly what they did. They played Monday night, but, man, what impressed you the most about this win over Green Bay?
Just the fact that Tennessee was so confident. I mean, they came in, they didn't have any doubt. I mean, they shot, and it was like you mentioned with Tess Darby, it was like she shot, she knew it was going in, and that fed all the way around. I mean, Jewel Spear, she was unconscious in the second quarter. I think she scored all of her points in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. She, yes, all 13 of her points were in the second quarter, and at one point, she had 11 straight Tennessee points. I mean, Tennessee went on like an 11-2 run, something like that, and she had all 11 points. But it was just the confidence, just knowing going into this game that you were going to be on the right side of things.
Absolutely. They played really good, though. 19 assists on 35 made buckets. They were 8 of 20 total from the 3-point line, and that's with Sarah Puckett going 2 for 4 and Jewel Spear going 3 of 5, and then Tess Darby going 3 for 3. That's what I'm talking about. And you had Tess Darby, Jewel Spear, Sarah Puckett, Rickea Jackson, all in the double digits. That's what Rickea Jackson needs. She needs to not be the one. Just like it's so crazy how similar these teams are, dude. But that's exactly what Dog Connect needs, right? So Rickea Jackson being that one, right? But when that team plays together, they play well. And when they shoot good, this team is hard to beat. I'm telling you. Look, them playing South Carolina 3 out of the last 6 games or whatever stupid. It was like 3 of 7 or 3 of 6.
And add in LSU to that mix in one of those games.
I'm telling you, that is the greatest preparation you could have for a tournament like this. Because literally almost whoever you match up against, regardless of the seeding, is a lesser opponent.
Yes.
And so the fact that you went toe-to-toe and should have fucking won the game against South Carolina, right?
Yep.
It's got to lift their confidence up. And I think they believe that they can play with anybody in the country.
Yeah. So let's talk about who they match up against. They're going up against the 3 seed NC State tomorrow night. What time is that game tomorrow night?
Don't have it in front of me, brother. You got me on this. But I do want to shout out Kath, my wife. She just shared the show. We appreciate you. Anybody that shares the show, comment. Let us know. We got people tuned in. We don't know that you're watching unless you comment. So please comment. Let us know your thoughts. If you want a better chance of us reading out the comment, try to have it on par with what we're talking about. Right now we're talking about Lady Vols basketball. But if you thought I'd go Big Orange or Dixieland Delights about Tennessee, baby, hey, we'll talk about it. All right, so just leave us a comment. We appreciate you tuned in. We got several viewers on YouTube and on Facebook. I can't see the Twitter. That's Michael's thing. But we appreciate you for tuning in. Did you figure out a time for that game tomorrow?
I did
Monday.
not.
I'm sorry. Our producers are terrible, guys. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I am pretty bad. So
I love how you just immediately say, yes, I'm the producer, right? No, man. But the Lady Vols, while you're looking that up, Lady Vols did exactly what they needed to do in the first round. Again, a lot of teams didn't do that. But now, in the women's bracket, I kind of want to brag on you. Did you not have a dang near perfect bracket after the first 2 days?
I had a perfect bracket going through a day and a half, and I think I hadn't pulled it up today. I think I ended up missing 3 games yesterday.
Ooh, no, I had a terrible day too. Hey, I still got a perfect region in the ladies bracket, so that's what I pride myself on. I had a dang near perfect region in the Tennessee region, but Gonzaga went and kind of threw that off the rails. So
hey, I had Gonzaga in that one, but I do think I missed one in that side, but Tennessee, NC State is at 4 Eastern tomorrow, so it's tomorrow afternoon.
That's a good game.
ESPN.
Now, I hate this because I believe they play at NC State.
Yes.
That's unfortunate, but luckily for Tennessee, man, that's not a far drive at all. So hopefully Big Orange Nation shows up and supports the Lady Vols. They will. They were loud during that first game. And I love hearing Rocky Top playing on national television, man. It's so addicting. You'll have fan bases from everywhere singing along to it, and then they realize they hate it after they sing it. It's the greatest thing ever. But no, the Lady Vols playing NC State. Do you have some sort of a preview for that game?
I can pull something up on ESPN here, but I don't have a lot on it. I know NC State is a very tough team. They finished second. Or they finished in a tie for second in the ACC behind Virginia Tech. They tied with Notre Dame and Syracuse. Of course, we don't really pay much attention to these numbers, but ESPN Matchup Predictor has NC State with a 73.8% chance to win this game.
That's fine. Screw the ESPN Predictor. Hey, you want to know the history in this matchup? Because I just pulled it up.
What you got?
So if history tends to repeat itself, as we all know happens, the last matchup between Tennessee Lady Vols and NC State was in 2004, and Tennessee took the win 64-54. Overall, we are 12-3 versus NC State in the history of women's basketball, so that favors. We're on a 3-game winning streak against them, and we've never lost more than one consecutive game against them, which that doesn't really matter. But in the last 10 matchups, we're 8-2. And I'm telling you, man, I like the matchup. I think if the Lady Vols are finding their confidence, they're shooting the ball well, I think it's an easy win.
Yeah, well, I won't say an easy win, but I think it can be a win. So I do have NC State and Tennessee stats pulled up here. So NC State is averaging 71.1 points per game this year. Tennessee allows 69.4. The Wolfpack are 22-1 this year in games when they put up at least 69 points. So Tennessee needs to keep them under 70 in this game. NC State is 16-1 at home this year. They are outshooting their opponents from the field this season, averaging 42.3% from the field, and their opponents are averaging 35.6%. When NC State outshoots its season average of 42.3, they are 18-0 on the year. Now, Tennessee does average more points per game than NC State. They average 76.4 points per game, but NC State only allows 59.6 points per game. Tennessee is 20-7 when they score over 60 points in a game. Tennessee is also a little bit better shooting from the field than NC State, averaging 43.5%, while limiting their opponents to 39.2%. Tennessee is 15-0 this year when shooting above their season average of 43.5%. NC State is led in scoring by Isaiah James. She is averaging 16.1 points per game. Sanaya Rivers averages 12.5 points and 4 assists per game, and River Baldwin chips in 10.4 points and 7.2 rebounds per game. So you got a big three there for NC State that all average at least 10 points a game. But I do think that I like this matchup. I would feel better if it wasn't on NC State's home floor.
100%.
But I do think, especially the way Tennessee has played as of late, I think that this is going to be a very good matchup. It's going to be close. I don't think this is going to be a blowout either way. I think it'll be a close game.
Fair enough. I think it's big. Man, if they can win Monday, it would be really cool. I think for a fact, right? Both men's and women's would be Sweet 16 bound back-to-back seasons together. And that, I don't know if that's, I'm sure it's happened. Pat Summit went all the time, so it's just a matter if the basketball team could do it. But that would be really cool to know that in both, basketball, ladies and men's, to be in the Sweet 16 going into the next weekend. That's something I'm all for, and I'm ready to talk about. So they've got their hands full, but, dude, March is March. And so we know that. So it's one game at a time, and we need the ladies to stay hot, and I think they will do that. I'm hoping they get a big win against NC State, man. Monday night, tune in, 4 o'clock Eastern. Or be there. It's up to you.
Yeah, head over to let's see, that's Raleigh, I believe. Raleigh, North Carolina. I think that's right.
From East Tennessee, that's what, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours?
Yeah, something like that. Let's see. I know for sure that the Vols and Lady Vols have both made the Sweet 16 in the same season twice. Because I know I think the only other time that Tennessee men's has gone to back-to-back Sweet 16s was in 07 and 08. Both of those seasons, the Lady Vols won the national championship. So this will be the third time, I believe, possibly more than that.
I like that history. Man. Ooh, maybe. All right, maybe. Roll swapped a little bit, dude. That'd be crazy. No, man.
Or let's just have both of them win the whole thing,
Big R's takeover, I'm fine with it, dude.
Yeah. I think that's actually only happened once in history, and I think that was UConn that did it in the same year. Men's and women's swept the basketball tournament.
Yeah, man. Well, hey, dude, we got men's baseball playing right now. Do you have an update on that one?
I do. It is Tennessee 9, Ole Miss 3 in the bottom of the 5th inning. Tennessee just chased another Ole Miss pitcher. So Ole Miss bringing in another pitcher, and Tennessee's got a runner on first with 1 out.
I'll tell you what, our Saturday woes on the baseball team is about to piss me off, dude. You want to go ahead and swap over to segment 3 and let's talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, let's swap over to segment 3.
Let us know who our sponsor is, brother.
So our sponsor is Kaizen Painting, and I got to pull up their script real quick. I told Skylar beforehand I need to work on this. Do you want a colorful life? Kaizen is a painting and drywall company that provides residential, commercial, exterior, and interior services. At Kaizen Painting, we understand the importance of a beautifully painted home and properly installed and repaired drywall. We're here to bring your vision to life. We care about providing you with a personalized, efficient, and quality service. If you live in Knoxville and surroundings, contact us for a free estimate, kaizenpainting.com. Color your life the Kaizen way. So Kaizen Painting, we appreciate you very much for being our third segment sponsor. And
dang right. Hey, that's another local family-owned business. Sal Sanchez and his family run that thing. And they do great work. So if you guys need anything, if y'all want to spring clean up, freshen up, paint the chimney or something, I don't know. Call them up. They'll get you taken care of. But we got some softball and baseball to talk about. Softball is kind of in the middle of a series. You want to start with them first?
Yeah, we'll start with softball. So want to talk about this game first. This was while we were live last week, and I think when we left off, it was like the 5th inning. Tennessee ends up winning 4-0 here. The big storyline, Carlin Pickens with her 7th straight shutout. She is just dominating right now.
It's quite special to witness. Just how good our pitching is and also how good our defense is behind her. It's something special. We get the sweep over Missouri in the opening weekend of SEC. And, man, I tell you what, it's the offense is there. The pitching is there. and the grit is there for Karen Weekly's team here in the Lady Vols softball program.
Yeah, and in this game, as I mentioned, Carlin Pickens, she goes all 7 innings, only gave up 3 hits, had 11 strikeouts in the game while only walking 1 batter. Pretty much all of Tennessee's runs did come off of home runs in this game. Kiki Malloy was 2 for 2 on the day. She had a solo home run. I believe she was walked a time or two as well. It's like she was walked once.
Yep.
Boo Gibson was 2 for 3 in the matchup. She had a 2-run home run, and Laura Miller also had a solo home run in this game. And that is all the hits. Tennessee had 5 hits in this game, and those 3 had all 5 hits. So not a lot to go around on the offensive side, but hey, it was enough to get the job done.
6 hits. I'm seeing Destiny Rodriguez had 1 as well. So, and your box score down.
Okay, I'm sorry. I did miss that.
You're all good, man. Like I said, a little bit of offense, but when your defense is holding them to 0, don't really need that much offense, man. Carlin Pickens doing something special, but we got another pitcher doing some pretty good things in Peyton Gottschall, as she, I believe, was the pitcher for the midweek. I can't remember. I'll have to pull it up. Against Western Carolina. There it is. Peyton Gottschall, 10-2 record. Once again, another shutout. I mean, it's just one of those things where this was a little bit more offense, a little bit less home runs. We still got, I think, 1. We had several, actually. Destiny Rodriguez homered. Riley West, Kiki Malloy homered. Dude, we had 3 home runs in this one. See, this is what happens when I go to talk about something and I didn't watch the game. Call me out, dude. We had 3 home runs in this game.
Hey, I will admit, I didn't watch this one either just because this was Thursday. I was literally watching basketball all day.
I think it's excused, right? Like, everybody was watching basketball, right? Look, it is what it is. But the Lady Vols didn't care. Look, they knew they wouldn't have showed Thursday night, but they made it one, you know? And they got a big win over Western Carolina to get them prepped up for another big SEC series. But I tell you what, man. Keegan Malloy went 1 for 4, but had that home run, 2 RBIs. Taylor Panel had, 1 for 3 with an RBI. Boo Gibson went 1 for 2 and also got walked. You had Laura Miller go 1 for 2 with an RBI. And I think she was one of the home run. No. That was Destiny Rodriguez, who went 2 for 4 with a home run and an RBI. Riley West went 2 for 4 as well. I mean, man, we just got a lot of hits. Everybody was kind of 2 for 4 or 1 for 3, and that's what you like to see in a midweek, kind of getting ready for another SEC clash in which the Lady Vols are trying to take care of business once again.
Yeah, and I do want to shout out Charlie Orsini here because this was actually a combined shutout. Charlie Orsini started the game. She went 3 innings, and she did not give up a single thing. No hits, she didn't have a walk, no strikeouts.
She had a perfect game going?
Yeah, she had a perfect game going. She just, I don't know if they decided to pull her and go with Gottschall or what exactly happened, but, I mean, she only threw 19 pitches in 3 innings of work. So, very, very impressive for Charlie Orsini. Went to Peyton Gottschall in the 4th, and then Peyton Gottschall ends up going the rest of the way.
Okay, so why is that? Why did that happen? Because I'm thinking one of 3 things. 1, she's injured, and I hope she's okay. 2, it was a coach's thing where she was hoping to get in work for another player, and then things were going a little bit too good, so she still went ahead and made that coaching switch anyways. Or 3, she impressed Karen Weekly so much that she rested her for this weekend. Why did that happen? Like, that's the first 3 thoughts in my mind. But, I mean, hopefully she's not hurt, or else we would have heard about it, right?
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure on this. I don't have like a play-by-play I can look up here. All it shows is a scoring summary. So I don't know the reason behind that. I hope it's not an injury, but it does kind of seem that way. But I also haven't seen anything on the Vol softball Twitter, so I'm not 100% sure on that right there.
I got you. Well, I hope I hope all was well, but she was pitching pretty dominantly. You're right. It's zeros across the board. She only faced 9 batters and got 9 of them out. So, no, it's good to see another 6-0 shutout win for the Lady Vols. I'm almost confident in saying, and I don't have the whole schedule put up, but I'd almost want to say half their games are shutout wins, and it's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. I'm not even going to lie.
And I don't have the stats on any of it today, but Tennessee softball is on a winning streak too. They I don't think they've lost since they were out in California, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean they're playing some hot ball right now too.
15-game winning streak, brother. The last loss was to UCLA, which they had a bunch of weather delays too. Not that I'm making excuses, but that was February 25th. They haven't lost since February 25th.
Yeah,
almost a whole month of nothing but wins.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's move ahead to last night's thriller, which kind of gets lost in the shuffle because of all the other stuff going on. But Tennessee softball picks up a 2-1 victory in 10 innings last night.
Now, I know a lot of people first thought it's like, well, that was only 1 extra inning. No, sir. Softball games are 7 innings. This was a very much extended softball game in which Tennessee came up in the clutch on I believe, a sac fly. So, big win for the Lady Vols here over South Carolina. Read us some of these stats and what impresses you most about Carlin Pickens getting yet another win, but unfortunately not a shutout thanks to the first inning.
Yeah, so Carlin Pickens, she pitched 9 innings last night. She came back out for the 10th inning, and I think she let's see, it looks like a South Carolina batter got on base, and they decided to turn it over to Peyton Gottschall to get the save. But Carlin Pickens goes 9 innings, gives up 1 run off of 6 hits and 9 strikeouts in the game. She only gave up 1 extra base hit in the entire game, so everything else was just singles. But from the plate, Kiki Malloy goes 1 for 5, Zeta Pooney 2 for 4, Sophia Nugent 1 for 4, Taylor Panel 1 for 4, and Destiny Rodriguez 1 for 3. So Sophia Nugent ends up getting the let's see. She had a double in the game. Zeta Pooney ends up driving in the winning RBI. I don't believe it could have been a sac fly, but I kind of think that it was a single, and Tennessee had a runner on second. It was Destiny Rodriguez on second, and Destiny came around, and you want to talk about a close play. I mean, she slid in. She got her foot just over the corner of the plate before the South Carolina catcher tagged her. Called her out at home to start with, went back and reviewed it, and she was safe. And that just took all the wind out of South Carolina sails. And
dude, I seen that in the highlight. Yeah, I'm sorry though. It said that Sarvis flied out to center field, and Panel scored. So I apologize on that if I messed that up. But
yeah, you're probably right. I just so I've got a new stat thing that I'm looking things up on, and it doesn't quite show what the Tennessee Athletics site does. So I'm going to go to the Tennessee Athletics site.
Actually, I do think it was a fly out because the center fielder, I remember watching this play. Center fielder had to run in a mile to catch the ball, and I was surprised that we still went home.
That's right,
because it was a very short crow hop and a throw for the lady, but she got it. Dude, that slide was insane. Usually you see people go in head first at home to try to reach. She went foot first and somehow got around that tag. Really good slide. But no, I do believe that was a fly out. Ended up being a sac fly, tag up, and got the score. Very aggressive.
Yeah, you're
very
right.
aggressive. But in a game like this, you got to take that chance. And that's exactly what the Lady Vols did.
Yeah, you're right on that. I pulled it up on the Tennessee Athletics site, so you are 100% correct. Yeah, this was an awesome game. I was going back and forth on my laptop between this game and the baseball game while we had the – let's see. I think the Tennessee basketball game had started.
Dude, it was like all of it was playing at once. It was insane.
Yeah. So I was at my in-laws. We had the basketball game on TV. I had the softball game on my laptop, and then once the half inning would end, I'd swap over to the baseball game. Once the half inning went in, I'd swap back to the softball game. So,
and you're talking to a guy that likes to race dirt bikes, so like Supercross at the same time I started. Like I looked like a jock, dude. I had like a TV, I had my laptop, my iPad, my phone. I had 4 screens going. It was a crazy night, but it's what we live for, right? I mean, football season, I'm the same way. I'll be watching Tennessee. Usually Tennessee's on, I'm only watching Tennessee. But if we have a late game, I'm watching all the SEC games or anything like that. But no, what a time to be alive. And Tennessee baseball just struggled and kept it from being a perfect day, going like 4-0. Instead we have to talk about a loss. But no,
I do want to give a quick shout out. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're good.
It's not a paid endorsement, but YouTube TV doing the multi-screen option there.
Yes.
That has been a lifesaver. It does it during football season, but during March Madness, I'm sitting here with 4 games on my phone right here, and whichever one is live, I'm swapping it. As soon as it goes to commercial, I'm swapping to another game. So
that's right. So Tennessee now, for the Lady Vols, they are 24-4, and they started out 4-0 in the SEC. Now for South Carolina, man, they started out 22-4, and have lost all 4 of their SEC games so far.
Lady Vols play again tonight. That game is on SEC Network.
Yep, they try to get the series, and I don't think South Carolina's any slouch of a team. Man. It's unfortunate that they started out 0-4 so far, but as a Tennessee fan, I hope they start out 0-6.
Yeah, and this was a rematch of last year's SEC championship game.
100%. So big game tonight. I don't think there's much going on other than baseball right now. And then you got softball tonight before we get ready for Lady Vols basketball Monday night. So tune in, check it out, and hopefully watch the Lady Vols secure another series and go 2-0 in the series win columns here this weekend.
And the Lady Vols softball will, if they get the win tonight, they'll go for the sweep tomorrow. That's right. Instead of doing a Friday, Saturday, Sunday series this weekend, they did Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So that's how this series is going. But we'll hop in. Go ahead.
I was going to say they're playing the Monday night game, but now to give them a little bit of good news, they don't have a midweek. So they'll still get plenty of rest before they get ready to go Friday for their next opponent against Auburn, I believe. So they play Monday, but they don't play the usual Tuesday, Wednesday midweek. But that's good news because I think the Lady Vols will need a little bit of rest before they get ready to do it again next weekend.
Yeah, and a shout out to my sister and her husband. They're actually going to be at the Auburn series this weekend. So
nice.
I want to watch some Tennessee-Auburn softball next weekend. But without further ado, let's move over to the baseball side of things. And this is where it's, some good things.
Let's talk about it.
Things.
Yep.
We'll start off with this game, which was just an absolute heartbreak. Part of it was live while we were live last week. Tennessee was up, I believe, whenever we went off the air. And
they had a massive 4th inning.
Yeah, we were in good spirits, and late Alabama just got on Tennessee, ended up taking this one. Tennessee had the go-ahead run, I believe, at the plate in the 9th.
They did. And
could not get the tying run or the go-ahead run across. So Alabama takes the first series of the season 2-1 with a 7-6 victory last week.
I'm totally okay with this. I'm not okay with it, but I'm okay with it. It's unfortunate they were in this position. I'd like for them to just go ahead and win on Saturday and not have to worry about the Sunday. Not that we don't have to worry about it, but as far as losing the series, putting this type of pressure on you, all the way to the 9th inning, Tennessee baseball is 18-3, and that's even after dropping these 2 games. They may be 18-4 now, but we'll talk about that later. But why is it so hard for this team to get the hit when runners are on base? Have you not noticed that?
It comes and it goes because, going back to Friday night, which we'll get to this game here in just a minute, against Ole Miss, at one point they were 5 for 6 with runners in scoring position. So, it comes and it goes with this team, but they just could not get any runs across whenever we had runners in scoring position last week.
They were 5 of 6 with runners in scoring position. Were they losing?
No, you're right. They were ahead.
No, it seems like for some reason when we're behind, which in this game we were behind from the very first inning, for some reason just it's so hard. Like you can't buy a hit with runners in scoring position with this team. I hope that they'll get it corrected. Don't get me wrong, but it was frustrating. I think at one point in this game they were like 1 of 11 with runners on base. That can't happen. That cannot happen. You will never win a baseball game doing that right there.
I mean, you left 9 runners on base, which Alabama did too.
Yeah,
but
I think bases were loaded twice.
Yes, I think you're right. No, just once in the. Or no, sorry, you're right. It was twice in the game. I was looking at who had runners left on base whenever it happened. But in this game, you had some guys do some good things. You had some guys do some not so good things. I mean, Christian Moore was 2 for 5 on the day. Blake Burke was 1 for 4. He also walked. Billy Amick 3 for 5. Dylan Dreiling was 1 for 4. And I also got to throw this out here. Unfortunately, Kavarius Tears, his hitting streak comes to an end as he went 0 for 5 in this game. You had Robin Villeneuve was 1 for 5. Hunter Inslee 1 for 4. Let's see. Cannon Peebles was 1 for 1. Came in to pinch hit. Cal Stark was 0 for 2, but he did walk in this game and did score a run at one point. I don't know. So I do want to bring up what you asked me earlier this year, if we thought this could be a year where Tennessee kind of does like the 2021 team and, just sweeps through it was the 2022 team, just sweeps through everybody in the regular season. Only a couple of series where you lost one, but you won every single series that year. And I said no, because the SEC is so strong. I feel like we're going to get a lot of series this year where you drop one game, where you could drop the series, but you still have a good year. And right now it's showing. I mean, you dropped 2 games in the first series, dropped a game yesterday to Ole Miss. I think this is the way it's going to be most of the season, is you're going to lose at least one game in the series in the SEC.
I think that Alabama one was more emotion than actually getting beat by a better team.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, Georgia, I believe, won the first 2 against Alabama this weekend. So, and I don't think Georgia's that good. And so, who knows? Who knows? But credit to Alabama and the way they fought in this one. They definitely deserved it. That 8th inning was very clutch. So, unfortunately, Tennessee, they did try to make a run there in the very last inning. And as somebody that was watching the game, very thankful for that, because like I mentioned with Tennessee, man, no lead is ever too big. And the announcer said that over and over and over in this game. Is like, hey, Bama, or they were up by 3, and then that big inning happened in the 4th, right? And then, we went up by 1 there in the 7th. But then even the announcers, after Alabama had that 3-run 8th inning, they were like, look, Tennessee can come back literally any, and they tried, man. But that's the thing with Tennessee, is no matter what the deficit is, no matter how late the game is, this offense still has that firepower to come back from any deficit regardless of where you're at in the lineup. I do still believe that, but I think you're absolutely right. I think the SEC is pretty strong this year. SEC, I would say this, like SEC last year in baseball wasn't the greatest. You were very top heavy.
Yes.
But your mid to lower tier teams were pretty bad.
Yeah.
Where I think this year maybe the transfer portal helped out, whatnot. But yeah, I think Tennessee is going to have a pretty tough road. But all in all, I still believe in this team. I mean, I think we're going to get to where we want to be. It's just what we do with it once we get there. But hopefully they secure the series today against Ole Miss. Hopefully.
Yep. I do think that we're going to, but I'll get to that once we get through some of these games. So midweek game here did get back in your winning ways as Tennessee takes down Xavier 10-2 in this one. Tennessee started early and just never looked back in this game. Kirby Cannell ends up getting the win. As I tell you what, man, I love Kirby Cannell.
Oh, who doesn't?
The energy that he brings every time that he comes into the game, it's unmatched by anybody. But let's see, Tennessee threw a lot of arms in this game. Xander Sechrist got the start, and then you went to Dylan Loy, Robertson, don't know his first name here. Kirby Cannell came in. Phillips, Chris Stamos, and Matthew Dallas also pitched in the game. But Cannell gets the win, throwing 2 1/3. Only gave up 1 hit and had 2 strikeouts in the game against 8 batters faced. And
we got to see a Burt bomb.
We did. We got to see a Burt bomb. And shout out to Blake Burke and to Christian Moore, both making their way to the top of the Tennessee home run leaderboard. As Blake Burke right now is sitting at a tie for third with 38 career home runs. Christian Moore has moved up after another bomb today to a tie for fifth with 37 home runs. So both of them are, let's see, Christian Moore is 3 away from tying Luke Lipsius, and Blake Burke is 2 away from tying Luke Lipsius. And we're at the beginning of the SEC season, so both of these guys are going to make their way to 1 and 2 on this list before the end of the year. Christian Moore in this game went 1 for 4. Blake Burke was 1 for 4 as well. As you mentioned, Blake Burke hit a home run in the game. Let's see, I believe he might have been the only Vol to hit a home run.
He was.
Yeah, only one to hit a home run.
Only home run in the game, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let's see, Billy Amick was 1 for 3. Various Tears had another 0 for 9, but he was walked 3 times in this game. Dylan Dreiling was 1 for 4. Cannon Peebles 2 for 4. Dean Curley was 2 for 3. And that is it as far as hitting goes on that side. But, it's good to get a midweek game to try to get your bearings about you, especially after the opening series against Alabama.
Well, this is kind of where you really get your work in as far as rotation, see what you got, what you need to adjust for the weekend, pitching-wise. And then it's all about staying in rhythm, right? Baseball is a lot like, I guess, golf, if I want to compare it to a sport. You want to play as much as you can because you got to stay in rhythm, right? You got to stay in the motion of the sport because if you ever take a week off or anything like that, you see it a lot of times in postseason, man. If you get that bye week, that almost hurts more than it helps because it takes you out of that rhythm of playing over and over and over again. So that's kind of what the key is here in the midweek. Xavier is a solid baseball team. Not really. They're 9-12. Something to just kind of help carry the momentum. And Tennessee did exactly what they needed to do before the weekend series against Ole Miss.
Yeah, you brought up golf. I do want to give a shout out to Tennessee golf. I saw this past week that the men's golf team is ranked 7th in the nation. So another Tennessee sport in the top 10.
I mean, what can I say, brother? Look, if you want an athletic department that is top tier in every sport, okay? Every sport, but doesn't get rings, come on to Knoxville, baby. Hey, we are where it's at, dude. We'll be in the national conversation every year, dude.
We just don't win anything.
Yeah, just don't win anything. But we're there. You know, hey, that's who we are, all right? Be that player that changes that narrative. Come here and get us a ring, Dalton Connect.
Yeah, absolutely. You're 100% correct there. But let's move into this weekend series as game 1 went the Vols' way in a big way. Another home run derby for Tennessee this night. 15-3 is the final. A.J. Causey once again doing his thing on the mound, went 5 2/3. Gave up 5 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them earned. I believe both of those were solo home runs as well.
Hang on. Dean Curley, you get a home run. Christian Moore, you get a home run. Robin Villeneuve, you get a home run. Kavares Tears, you get a home run. Christian Moore, you get a home run. Dude, there might have even been more. Hang on. Hold up. No, that's it, unfortunately. Semo with a 2 home run night as Tennessee, I believe, blasts 5 over the fence. Once again, I hate to cut you off, but I was really ready to do that. I've been ready to do that the whole time.
Yeah.
What is up with our Friday night explosiveness, dude? This is 2 weeks in a row where we just absolutely hand it to our opponent in the first game of the series.
Well, I want to turn that question around and say, we're getting the Friday night explosiveness. Where is it going on Saturdays?
Right.
That's what I want to know. Are you using everything up on Friday nights and not having enough for Saturday? Because Friday nights are looking good right now, but then Saturday you're not getting the same. You're not getting the same production that you need after the big explosion on Friday night.
Is it almost like Tony Vitello is doing such a great job of preparation, right? Where they go out there prepared to battle and they blow them out of the water, and then mentally they're like, "This team ain't jack nothing," right? Use another word if you want to. This team ain't nothing. And then they come out Saturday thinking that, and then they get smacked in the face because they thought it was going to be an easy game again. Maybe? I don't know.
Maybe.
It just, how is it so dramatically different? And it's been that way 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, unless it's, would you not consider Drew Beam our best arm? Or at least
I would have 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you would have going into this season consider Drew Beam our best arm.
But now, I would also counter that and say no, because when has our best arm ever been a Saturday starter?
True. That's very true.
Our best arm is always pitched on Fridays.
Which is why A.J. Russell was the starter on Friday nights going into this season before he got hurt. Now, he has pitched a couple of times, one of those being the Saturday game that we'll get to here in just a minute.
Right.
But, we haven't seen our Friday night arm be that – or this year hadn't been that best guy because of the injury to A.J. Russell. But I will say Drew Beam has been our most consistent instead of our best for the most part. But this year,
you're comparing to pitchers that never got to start. Drew Beam's the only returning starter in the last 2, and he's done it for 2 years. So it's just one of those things where I kind of had that doubt because Tony Vitello's always pitched his best arm on Friday nights. Yeah. And so Drew Beam, I think I agree with what you're saying is maybe he's not our best arm, but he's usually what you got in him. But man, he's been getting roughed up the last 2 games. It's not been pretty. Against Bama, he got jumped on early, but now he calmed down and was dominant after the first half of that game, or really after the first 3 innings. But in this game, man, not this game, but the Saturday game, if you want to flop over to it. This game, he just not terrible, right, to start the game. That 9th inning, bro. That 9th inning sucked.
That 9th inning hurt, which, that was after Drew Beam had left the game. A.J. Russell was in, trying to come back from that injury, and he was pitching pretty well until that 9th inning. He came in to clean up Drew Beam's mess in the 6th, got out of the 6th, went to the 7th and the 8th without getting up a run, and then in the 9th, you see here in the stat line, he had 6 walks. And that's where a lot of those runs came from right there. And then Tennessee brought in Chris Stamos to finish off. And Chris did what he could. But by that point, he did give up a hit, and that scored a couple of runs. Of course, those runs are charged to Russell because they were on base whenever Stamos came into the game. But once again, Tennessee in the bottom of the 9th, if I'm not mistaken, did they not have the tying run at the plate?
Yes.
And could not bring anybody in.
No. And that's why I was telling you, once again, this team, for some reason when we're losing, just can't get that. They just can't buy that hit, right? Which now they didn't get a lot of hits in this game whatsoever, as they only tallied 6 hits total. But Hunter Ensley homered right off the bat in the 2nd inning for a 2-run shot. But that was it. And as far as firepower, that's what we not that we rely on it, but you just expect 2 to 3 bombs in a game with Tennessee. It's about what they average.
He is averaging 3 home runs a game.
Yeah, so to see them with only 1, that's it is what it is. But we'll have to figure out a way to score these base runners. Somehow, some way, just get the ball in play. I don't think it's that our boys are only aiming for the fences, because if you watch these games, they really do put it everywhere in the field. They spread it out. They go oppo a lot of times more than they freaking pull the ball.
Yeah.
So it shows me that they're utilizing the pitch. They're taking it where it's coming, and I just don't know, man. Maybe it's just one of those things. I'm sorry that I sound stuffed up. I am, but it's just one of those things where it's early in the season. We'll work out the kinks. But, man, it'd be nice to not give up a game like this. I mean, this is a game where we didn't have it handedly, but we were winning in the bottom of the 8th. You felt really good to get your 3 outs, right? And then it just falls apart. And that sucks.
Yeah, it really does. And, we mentioned Tennessee didn't have a whole lot of hits. They only had 1 hit until the 7th inning. And that 1 hit was the Hunter Ensley 2-run shot in the 2nd inning.
Yeah, it can't happen.
But I do have to give credit to Ole Miss's starter. He just mowed down the Tennessee batters. I think he had double-digit strikeouts before he was pulled in this game.
I think he had 11, I think.
Yeah, let me see. I've got it. He had 10.
Oh,
he had 10 in the game. And then among the 3 relievers that came in at different times, they had another 5. So 15 strikeouts on the night for Ole Miss pitchers against Tennessee batters.
Yep. It's one of those offensive nights you never want to have. But like you said, in the SEC, almost every team has one of those dudes that is capable of striking out 10 of your batters no matter what kind of lineup you throw at them. And Ole Miss, credit to them. They had some dogs that kept them in the game, right? Because if our offense shows up and does anything, that 4-run ninth might not even matter. Now, 8 runs is a lot, so it might have came into play. But this Tennessee offense, it's crazy. But when we score 5, that's almost a letdown. I mean, we almost expect 7, 8, 9, 10 runs in a baseball game with how this offense is, and you also expect your pitchers to be a little bit more on top of it. Now, like I said, it wasn't a terrible night for Beam. But he just didn't seem to have those clean innings that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, I agree with you. And then, let's talk a little bit about this baseball game that's going on right now, because Tennessee is well on their way to winning their first SEC series, as they are up right now going into the bottom of the 6th inning, 15-3. So looking like the Friday night team. And once again, it's you get a home run, everyone gets a home run, as Christian Moore right now is 1 for 4 with a home run. Blake Burke is 2 for 3 on the night. He's got a double. Billy Amick, he is 2 for 3 with a home run and a double. He's got 5 RBIs on the game. Various Tears is 3 for 4 with a home run. Dylan Dreiling, 1 for 4 with a home run. Let's see. Hunter Ensley is 1 for 3, and Dean Curley is 3 for 3 on the day with a home run.
Seeing 5 home runs in 6 innings is insane.
Yeah, and it's
oh my goodness.
Let me go back to the
but that's what I'm talking. Like, that's the lineup we expect. Like, that's what you from top to bottom. Anybody can go yard. I just hate that, like, when they go cold, they all go cold. Like, why can't we just get 3 home runs a game and it just be different folks every time? Like, I don't know. It is what it is.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing that I really like about this game is Tennessee got on Ole Miss early. They hit the 2-run home run in the 1st inning. They didn't get anything in the 2nd, but 5 in the 3rd, 2 in the 4th, 6 in the 5th, and now they're back up in the 6th, and they're starting to get some other bats in, trying to get them some work here in SEC play.
Yeah, I was going to say, obviously you start out strong in the 1st inning, getting 2 runs, but then going 5, 2, and 6 in the 4th, 5th, and the 3rd, 4th, and 5th innings. That kind of lets you know, like, hey, we ain't playing around. We're getting out of here in 7 today. Pack up your bags, go back to Oxford. Which you love to see it.
Yeah. So I do have a question real quick for you, just about the program in general, and we can throw this to baseball and to softball, but right. I do want to start off with baseball. Do you not feel like it's only a matter of time before Tony Vitello brings a national championship to the Tennessee Vol baseball program?
I mean, yes, but just like basketball, a lot of times, man, it's not the best team that wins that championship. It's who gets hot at the right time.
Yeah, and we saw that a couple years ago with
Ole Miss team. And Ole Miss. Ole Miss was the last team in 2022.
Yes.
The last team in.
And they won the whole thing.
They won the whole thing. It's so weird because, like, as a fan, like, you would love to see that, right? Because at the end of the day, you get that hardware. But if I'm a fan, right, and let's just put this into football terms because it's easier for me to understand. Baseball, it's understand. But, like, that'd be like your football team going 7-5. You make it to the playoff and win the Natty. you're stoked because you won the Natty, but like that's not the season that you ever thought going into the playoff that you were a team capable of winning. So it's weird. Like to me, it's like, hey, that's awesome, but it also hurts worse when it's the opposite. When you've had that team that is the dominant team, the best team, because those teams only come around once ever so often. Tony Vitello's doing a great job.
Yeah, but Tennessee arguably had the best team at
college baseball
history 2 years ago, and they get put out in the Super Regionals
against Notre Dame.
But that
sucks, dude.
Yeah, I just feel like it's only a matter of time.
I think so too. And the more we can make it to Omaha and get those guys comfortable with being in Omaha, then it really is only a matter of time. Being in Omaha the last 3 years, I think it's going to help this team more than anything. Because now it won't be, oh, wow, we made it. Like, this is what it's all about. Now it's, oh, yeah, we've been here before. We got to get to work, and let's go win this thing.
Yeah. All right, so let me turn it around to softball. I know Oklahoma, they're still the dominant team right now.
Well, they did lose.
They did lose, which is more than I can say about a couple of years in the past, but do you feel like that the way Karen Weekly has got this team going, it's a matter of time for them as well?
Absolutely, and you could hear it in the tone in the preseason. Like they know what's at stake here, and they're going for it. This team, and they're playing like they are. I mean, 15 games in a row. They know what it's about, and they feel like they deserve to be up there with Oklahoma. I mean, that's what they want. This team, like other football teams that they're winning a lot. They got to the point where they would say we want Bama. Now it's kind of like we want Georgia. Tennessee softball is at the point where they want Oklahoma. They want to go all the way and prove themselves that they deserve to be that top team, and they're playing like it right now. But yes, for Karen Weekly, for Tony Vitello, softball and baseball, I think they're both like top 10, top 5 in the country. They will be if they're not already. It's only a matter of time, I think. I don't think it's in the next year or two. Maybe, I don't know. But I do feel like it's pretty close.
Yeah, I think that you're right there. I think that it's got to be a matter of time at this point.
Coach Heupel?
Matter of time, man. I mean,
Coach Rick Barnes?
Yeah, I mean, I will say for Rick Barnes, I think it's this year or when. Just because the talent on this team, plus having a guy like Dalton Connect, I think it's either this year or might not be with Rick Barnes. It might be with somebody else later down the road. Now,
well, the good news is even if it doesn't happen with Dalton Connect, that they can still find a way to make it a little deep. Maybe Dalton Connect has that game where he pops off for 40 in March. Yeah. He can at least go and cherry pick his guys in the NIL portal or whatever and say, hey, this is what I did with the last one. You want to come be the new Dalton Connect?
Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
I will say the more that I look at the young talent on this team for the basketball, along with, all right, you're going to return pretty much all of your post players next year. Adu's a junior. Awaka is a sophomore. You got Estrella and Phillips are both freshmen. You got 4 guys next year that could come in at any moment. All you got to do is work with Estrella and Phillips a little bit and get them more comfortable. And you got 4 guys at the post that come in and do it next year.
People are nervous, but you've got Jordan Gainey, you got Zakai Ziegler, Adu, Awaka. This team is not going to fall off that hard. All right, yeah, they're losing Vescovi and Triple J, we're begging them for 10 points. So I mean, like, they do great things on the defense. But look, if I know Rick Barnes, he's going to coach those guys up to play defense no matter who it is.
Yeah. And I was having this conversation yesterday with my father-in-law too. We were talking about those are the 4 guys you got at post. You got Estrella, Phillips, Awaka, and Adu coming back next year.
Yep.
And then you look at the returning production that you've got at the guard position. You've got Ziegler coming back. You've got Meshack. You've got Gainey. You've got DeLeon. You've got Cameron Carr. Bring in one guy out of the portal, a really good guard out of the portal that can be one of those go-to guys, kind of like Connect is. That's a 10-man rotation that you got right there, and you've got exactly what you need at each position.
And just like that, we're back into segment 1. We want to shout out our sponsor for segment. No, but no, I mean for Karen Weekly, for Tony Vitello, for all of our coaches, really. Like I said, man, if you want a team that wants to be in the conversation, of every sport, but not have rings? Come on to Knoxville, baby. We'll get you taken care of, all right? Give you some of that sauce. Hey, we got a Waffle House nearby. I heard for some of our offensive linemen, that's the selling point is we have a Waffle House. So, I mean, hey, whatever you want, we got it out here.
Hey, and we're America Sports City for a reason.
That's right, dude. Well, it's probably because we ain't got nothing else in Knoxville. But, we're very...
That's all we need, isn't it?
That is all we need. It's all I ask for. So,
all right.
But
that will close out the show today. We do have a couple of guests lined up for the next couple of weeks. I'll go ahead and say next week we have got a guy from the Up Tempo podcast. That is an Auburn podcast. We're going to be previewing the Tennessee-Auburn baseball series, and we could probably talk a little bit with him about the softball because, we'll already have 2 games in at that point with the softball. We can talk a little bit about those games with them as well. But we're going to have him on next week. Do we have the guests lined up for the following week yet? Or
possibly, but it's not official. But we are working on having a former VFL football player joining the podcast, talk a little bit about spring football next weekend. But it's not official, but he is interested. We're messaging back and forth on that. It's just about getting a date and time for that because I'm going to try to get him on live. That'll be awesome. But if he wants to do a pre-recording, we'll work on that. We'll work out the kinks, but we'll have a for sure answer here in the midweek.
Yeah, and then the following week, so the next 3 weeks, we possibly got guests lined up because the following week, we have got Eric from the Ohio podcast coming on. And we got some big news to talk about that week stay tuned. We've got a big announcement coming up in 2 weeks. So the day after the national championship game, there'll be a big announcement coming out, and we're going to have Eric on in 3 weeks to talk a little bit more about that.
That's right. And before we jump off here, all right, want to talk a little football because it's freaking awesome. Joshua Dobbs has signed for the San Francisco 49ers where he just guaranteed a 1-year deal, multi-million-dollar, and he reunites with our boy Jawan Jennings. I'm so happy.
And we pull up the clip against Georgia.
I'm so happy for this guy, dude. Like, he kind of like a modern-day... I'm not going to say Fitzpatrick because Fitzpatrick was like a big, like he actually produced some big numbers. Not that Joshua Dobbs hasn't, but he hasn't in his career. But he has bounced around from team to team, just struggling to keep making money while doing what he loves. But he just secured the bag. And that's all thanks to what he did last year. I know he had some rough games. He was on some rough teams, right?
Yeah.
And he was also learning everybody's playbook within a week before playing.
And Josh Dobbs, he's made himself the most sought-after backup quarterback because he's proven that he can do it.
Exactly. And he's won games. Like, it's not like he's just out there. Carlos, what's up, man? From Memphis. Go Vols. Let's go, baby. Memphis is actually a host site for some of the March Madness games, so I bet Memphis has been living it up this last weekend. We appreciate you tuned in. No, man, very happy for Joshua Dobbs. That's so cool that him and Jawan Jennings get to be reunited together, play a little bit of ball. Who knows? Maybe he can play a couple of games and get to connect with Josh Dobbs or Jawan Jennings.
Maybe get a Hail Mary in there. So,
that's right. Hey, whatever, man. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
So,
and,
but no, man.
Little bit off from Tennessee, but I do want to give a shout out to the MTSU women who got a big upset in March Madness against Louisville to move on. And I do want to throw myself a little bone. I called the upset. That was in my
I picked it as well.
Yeah. So I couldn't remember if you picked it or not, but
I picked it as well.
Both of us picked that one. So
of course we picked it, bro. We're from Tennessee. Come on now.
Yeah, and MTSU is playing today as well. I can't remember right now who they're playing. They're playing right now against LSU. It is 20-15. LSU is up at the end of the first, but I'm actually going to tune into that game once we're done here. But
I'm going to give me some food. I'm starving, dude. I don't really have anything else to close but we do have some viewers on Facebook. Guys, we don't know you're watching unless you comment. So, Carlos, thank you for commenting. But we appreciate everybody that's tuned in. We had several on YouTube as well. We appreciate all you guys for listening. Share the show, because even though we're not live after about the next minute or so, people can still go back and watch this thing as we dropped it. We had a lot of things to discuss over basketball. Thankful that we still get to talk about basketball, because now we don't have to sit here and talk about all the glory days from 10, 15 years ago when we actually did something as a program, But, it's nice to still be dancing, right? Do the Blake Burke double dance. So, no, man, it's really good. We're in a great spot right now. Thankful to be a Vol, all right? It's always great to be a volunteer. Everybody always says that, and I think they always truly believe that. But, man, I am ready to kick butt on another week. Thankful to be here above dirt. And, brother, all I got to say is go Big Orange.
Yeah, I do want to say Tennessee baseball did officially get the win 15-3 in run rule fashion.
Hang on.
The 7th inning.
You want to do it with me? Boom. That's it. The real UT, dog. The real UT.
Yep. Tennessee. All the way.
Hey,
so,
we're welcoming them into the SEC nicely, brother. That's all it is.
We sure are. So, for Skylar and myself, thank you for watching today. And everybody, go Big Orange.
I'm a Vol for life.
I'm a Vol for life, y'all. I bleed orange and white, y'all. I will till I die, y'all. I'm a Vol for life, yeah. Raised up on John Ward. Giving 6 in the checkerboard till I'm gone. Go Big Orange, I'm a Vol for life.